Joseph and Jess are not married. They walk into an apartment with a folder, 2 forms of identification, and a plan to split the rent. The leasing agent places one document in front of them. Both sign. At that moment, their relationship has created a home. Their signatures may also have created a legal obligation for the full rent rather than a neat half for each person. Unmarried partners can also create shared debt through a car loan, a credit account, or furniture financing. Living together by itself generally leaves each person responsible for debts held only in that person's name. The document, the signer's role, and the law that applies to the agreement determine the risk. A relationship can feel private. A contract can reach into a person's paycheck, credit history, and future choices. That's crazy. Joseph and Jess are a composite example. Their story shows how ordinary decisions can create a large shared risk while a couple is still living an ordinary life. The key difference is between a relationship and a promise written in a contract. A relationship may explain why 2 people choose to share a cost, but it does not replace the words on the agreement. Think of each signature as a door into a separate obligation. Signing the lease opens one door, signing the car loan opens another. Signing the credit account or furniture agreement opens still more. Those doors can connect the couple financially, even when no general rule connects all of their debts. Joseph does not become responsible for every bill Jess has simply because they live together. He may become responsible for a particular bill because he agreed to that particular contract. This is why the same couple can have both separate and shared debts at the same time. A bill in one person's name may remain that person's responsibility, while a jointly signed account can make both people responsible under its terms. The central question is not, are they a couple? It is, what did each person sign? What role did each person accept? And which law governs that promise? Hey, it's CJ, the creator of this channel. If you want to make automated videos like this, topictovideo.com will do it all for you. You don't need a camera, script, or microphone. All you need is an idea. The visuals, voiceover, and script are all generated automatically. Try it free today at topictovideo.com. Back to the video. The first document is the lease. A lease is the contract that gives people the right to live in an apartment while requiring payment and compliance with the landlord's rules. Suppose both partners signed a lease. The document may treat them as tenants who share responsibility for the full rent. If Joseph pays his half and Jess loses her job, the landlord may still look to the contract for the unpaid balance. The same problem can appear when one partner moves out, stops answering messages, or assumes the other person will handle everything. This is often called joint and several responsibility. In plain language, each responsible signer may face a claim for the whole amount depending on the lease and local law. The couple may agree that each person owes half, but that agreement does not change the landlord's rights under the lease. A move-out also does not automatically erase a signature. The exact result depends on the lease language and the law where the apartment sits. Check this out. One person can use the apartment more, earn more, or promise to cover more of the rent, and the written agreement may still place both tenants on the hook for the full amount. The address joins their daily lives. The signatures join their legal risk. The phrase full rent can sound strange when 2 people agree to split the bill. But the private plan between the tenants and the landlord's contract are not necessarily the same thing. Joseph and Jess may keep a simple record saying Joseph will pay half and Jess will pay half. That record can help them understand their own arrangement, but it does not automatically rewrite the lease. The lease remains the starting point for deciding the tenant's duties. This creates 2 different questions. First, what did the couple promise each other? Second, what did each tenant promise the landlord? A breakup can make those questions point in different directions. For example, Jess might leave after paying her agreed share. Joseph might stay and believe that the apartment is now his problem alone. Yet the lease may still identify both people as responsible tenants. Whether either person can be released depends on the agreement and applicable law. The same reasoning applies to other lease obligations named in the document. Rent is not the only word worth reading. The agreement may also describe other duties, and the party's responsibility depends on the language that actually appears there. So the lease should be read before the move, not only after a dispute. The important moment is not when the couple argues about who should pay, it is when the contract defines who promised what. Joseph and Jess need transportation, so they apply for a car loan together. A loan is a contract for borrowed money. The borrower promises to repay the amount under the agreement. When both partners sign as responsible borrowers, both can become personally liable for the debt. The car may sit in one driveway and one person may use it for work. The lender looks to the loan documents and the account rolls. The title and the note describe different things. A title identifies ownership of the vehicle. A note describes a promise to repay borrowed money. A person can focus on who owns the car, while the lender focuses on who promised to pay. Those papers deserve separate attention. Then the couple opens a credit card. A joint credit account means both people take on responsibility for the account under its terms. Jess may buy the groceries while Joseph buys a desk, but their spending pattern does not decide who owes the balance. When both people are responsible under the contract, either person's spending can become part of the shared debt. Furniture adds another layer. The sofa, bed, and dining table arrive through a financing agreement. Both names appear on the purchase contract, giving the store a path to seek payment from both people. Each document may seem manageable on its own. Together, they can make one partner's missed payment a problem for the other partner. The car example shows why ownership and repayment should never be treated as the same question. One paper may describe the vehicle, while another describes the money borrowed to obtain it. The person using the car is not automatically the only person responsible for the loan. Suppose Joseph drives the car to work every day and Jess rarely rides in it. If Jess signed as a responsible borrower, her limited use does not erase her promise. The lender's starting point is the loan contract, not the couple's driving routine. The credit card creates a similar trap because spending can look personal even when the account is shared. Joseph may make one purchase and Jess may make another. Under a joint account, the important issue is not who chose each item, but who accepted responsibility for the account. Furniture can feel less serious because it arrives as ordinary household objects. A sofa is visible in the room, but the financing promise is less visible. If both people sign, the household item and the payment obligation travel together in the paperwork. This is how ordinary choices build a stack of promises. The car answers a transportation need. The card handles purchases. The furniture fills the home. None of those choices has to feel dramatic when it happens. The danger appears when the couple treats all four arrangements as one shared household plan, while each lender or seller treats its own document as a separate agreement. One plan in the home can therefore produce several different sets of responsible parties. Before signing, the couple should name the contract, not just the object. They should ask who is borrowing rather than only who is using the car. They should ask who is responsible for this account rather than only who bought the sofa. The most important words on a financial document may sit beside the name. Similar looking labels can carry different responsibilities. A joint borrower or co-applicant signs up as a person responsible for the account. A co-signer makes a promise that can make that person responsible when the primary borrower fails to pay. A guarantor serves a similar backup role under the agreement. These roles require careful reading because the contract controls the promise. An authorized user is different. An authorized user receives permission to use another person's credit card. That status can affect the account, but it is distinct from being a co-applicant or a joint account holder. The words may appear close together on an application, they do not describe the same role. A partner can live in the apartment, ride in the car, or use the sofa while remaining outside a particular debt contract. A shared address does not by itself establish responsibility for every account in the home. A shared relationship does not supply a missing signature. The reverse also matters. A debt held solely in Joseph's name generally belongs to Joseph under the ordinary cohabitation rule. Jess may know about it or benefit from the purchase. Her name and role on the document still matter. Ask one precise question. Am I a borrower, a co-signer, a guarantor, an authorized user, or someone with no role on this account? The answer can change the risk. These labels matter because permission to use something is not the same as a promise to repay it. An authorized user may have access to a card, but that label does not automatically make the person a joint borrower or co-applicant. The product and jurisdiction can affect the consequences, so the account language must be checked. A co-signer is also not simply a witness. By signing, that person may accept a backup obligation if the primary borrower does not pay. A guarantor has a similar purpose. The agreement can call on that person under the conditions it describes. A joint borrower, by contrast, is presented as part of the borrowing relationship from the start. A co-applicant can likewise be part of the application for the account. The exact promise still comes from the document, so familiar labels should not replace careful reading. Imagine 4 people connected to one credit card. One person may be the main applicant, another may be a joint account holder, a third may be a co-signer under a different agreement, a fourth may only be an authorized user. Their access and possible responsibility should not be assumed to be identical. The visual clue of a card in someone's wallet is therefore incomplete. It shows use, not necessarily the legal role behind the account. The useful clue is the application, account record, or agreement that states who accepted the repayment duty. The same caution applies to a home. Sharing keys, groceries, or furniture can show shared life without proving that both people signed every financial promise. A person can benefit from an item without being named in the contract for its debt, subject to applicable law and special circumstances. When the role is unclear, "we share it" is not a precise answer. The better answer identifies the person, the document, the role, and the condition that could trigger responsibility. While Joseph and Jess are together, shared debt can feel like shared convenience. Payments leave one bank account or the other. The car sits outside, and the furniture fills the rooms. The lease renews. Then the relationship changes. One person wants to move out, while the other wants to keep the apartment. The car loan still has its own payment schedule. The credit card still has its balance. The furniture agreement still names its responsible parties. A breakup changes the relationship. It does not by itself change every contract. One partner can promise to make all future payments, but the lender or landlord may still hold rights under the original agreement. The document must be changed through the proper process before a signer is released. The risk can stay hidden because the couple makes every payment. A debt becomes visible when a payment stops. A late account can bring the contract into focus at the worst possible time, when communication is already broken down and each person believes the other should handle it. A couple's private breakup plan can be sensible and still fail to release anyone from an outside contract. Joseph and Jess might agree that Joseph keeps the car and Jess keeps the furniture. That decision may settle what they want between themselves, but it does not automatically change the names or duties in the loan and purchase agreements. The same is true of a promise to reimburse the other person. If Jess says she will cover the card balance, Joseph may rely on that promise in their private arrangement. But if the account still makes both people responsible, the original contract remains important when payments are missed. This is why the danger is often invisible during the relationship. Cooperation hides the separate documents. Each person sees the same home, the same car, and the same monthly plan. The agreements become visible only when cooperation stops. A missed payment can also reveal that the couple misunderstood the account role. Someone may think they were only helping with an application, while the document treats them as a borrower, co-signer, or guarantor. Someone else may think card access means joint borrowing, even though the account uses a different label. The emotional ending and the financial ending may therefore happen on different dates. The relationship can end today, while a lease, loan, or account continues under its own terms. Neither person should assume that moving away or changing the relationship automatically changes those terms. The practical lesson is not to predict a breakup. It is to understand the agreement while communication is still easy. A clear answer before signing is more useful than a guess after the couple no longer agrees. Beginning in 1839, American states started passing Married Women's Property Acts. These laws allowed married women to own property and, in some cases, protected that property from their husband's debts. In England, the Married Women's Property Act of 1882 made married women capable of acquiring, holding, and disposing of real and personal property as separate property, much like unmarried women. Those laws dealt with a broad legal status. A lease or loan deals with one specific promise. The two systems should not be treated as interchangeable. Marriage also does not automatically combine every debt. In common law property states, a spouse's debt is usually separate unless both spouses undertook it or it clearly benefited the marriage. Examples can include food, clothing, childcare, shelter, and necessary household items. A contract signed by both spouses can make the obligation joint. State rules control the details. Marriage can place property and debt inside wider legal rules. Unmarried partners often create their risk one document at a time. Their protection and responsibility depend heavily on the agreements they sign and the law that applies to them. A useful comparison is this. Marriage can supply a wider set of legal rules, while a signature supplies a specific contractual connection. One does not erase the other. Imagine that Joseph made a purchase, but Jess signed the credit agreement because they plan to share the household. Months later, the relationship ends and the payments stop. The account documents answer the lender's first question: who agreed to repay? If both partners are responsible under a joint credit account or loan, both may face responsibility for the debt, regardless of who spent the money. Joint purchases such as cars and furniture can create the same names appear on the contract. A person can therefore carry debt for a purchase that person chose, used, or barely saw. That is crazy, right? The same issue can reach the lease. A former partner may move across town while the lease still runs. The other partner may remain in the apartment. Their private arrangement may say that the remaining tenant handles the rent, but the contract and local law determine what the landlord can demand. Each obligation has its own terms. The lease may name tenants, the card note may identify a borrower and co-signer, and the credit card may distinguish a joint account from an authorized user. Furniture financing may use a purchase contract with separate conditions. That is why both names are on it works as a warning, but not as a complete legal analysis. A couple can reduce confusion before signing by checking every shared obligation. Start with the names. Whose name appears on the lease, note, card, or purchase contract? Then identify the role. Is each person a joint borrower, co-applicant, co-signer, guarantor, authorized user, tenant, or owner? Read the payment section. What happens after a missed payment? Can one responsible party be pursued for the full balance? Does the document explain release, replacement, renewal, or move out? Put the breakup plan beside the contract because the relationship can change while the payment obligation continues. Check the ownership papers separately. For a car, compare the title with the loan note. For furniture, examine the purchase agreement and financing terms. For a credit card, locate the account role language instead of relying on the card itself. Track debts held in only one person's name. Under the general cohabitation rule, that debt belongs to the named person, subject to applicable law and special circumstances. Shared use does not answer who must pay. Finally, identify the governing jurisdiction. The same words can work differently under state or local rules. For a live dispute, read the actual contract and consult a qualified local professional. This is general information, not individualized legal advice. Joseph and Jess began with a simple idea: share a home and divide the cost. Their relationship can end without ending a contract. Marriage is not a magic shield, and being unmarried is not a magic escape. The result turns on the document, the account role, and the governing law. A shared address tells you where people live. A signature shows who made a promise. Before signing, ask what survives if the relationship changes. Ask who can be pursued for the full balance. Ask whether a name can be removed, whether a cosigner can be released, and what the contract says after a move out or default. Then read the answer in the document itself. The signature starts the debt risk. The document tells you how far that risk can travel. Hey, it's CJ, the creator of this channel. If you want to make automated videos like this, topictovideo.com will do it all for you. You don't need a camera, script, or microphone. All you need is an idea. The visuals, voiceover, and script are all generated automatically. Try it free today at topictovideo.com. Back to the video.